let's move on to
Yeah.
talking about writing humor for kids, because you are extremely funny. Your books made me howl.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks.
And it's surprising to me to hear you say that you do plan relatively meticulously. You know, you said about a 5-page outline.
Yeah.
How do you then go back and find the humor? Is it what strikes you on the day? Is it layering it back in after the fact?
It's a good question. I think the circumstances within the books and the premises within the books will only get you a quarter to a third of the humor that you're looking for. All the rest has to be in the voices of the characters and the way that my narrators are describing the events. And I cheat a little bit too, because I have figured out a way in my Charlie Joe series and my Crimebiters series to have these asides, where in the Crimebiters series they're called facts, and I can probably quickly find a fact in here. They run throughout the books. Fact: when I grow up, I want to live in a bakery. They always have something to do with what's happening in the story, but they're always hopefully little jokes unto themselves. And so to me, I consider that a little bit of a cheat, because it's a way for me to make a funny comment without having to rely on it being within a character or within a plot device. It's like, let's take time out for this quick joke. And now back to our regularly scheduled book.
So you're guaranteed, even if you write nothing funny within the chapter itself, you've already got that up front?
Yeah, I got a couple jokes ready to go. And the voices of my characters, I think Charlie Joe is kind of a wise guy. Jimmy Bishop he's the Crimebiters guy. Jimmy Bishop is less of a wise guy, but he's making funny observations about the world around him. For some reason, that's the part that has always come most naturally to me. Writing in a wise alecky kind of way that hopefully adds a little bit of wit and comic commentary to the situations that are happening. I've definitely written books that are slapsticky and ridiculous. I have one of my Charlie Joe books, Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Making Money, is filled with money. He has a dog walking business that goes horribly awry. He throws himself a pseudo bar mitzvah to get gifts, and that goes horribly awry. So physical situations, there's a fight between Abby the dog and Daisy's cat Perkins in one of the Crimebiters books that takes place at a birthday party. Everything's trashed, and physical comedy and kind of slapstick, broader comedy is certainly a part of my books, but it's not where most of the comedy comes from. Most of the comedy comes from a certain attitude and point of view toward life that my characters have, that can kind of hopefully find the funny in every situation.
That makes sense to me. And were you the class clown? Were you a funny kid?
I probably was the class clown to some extent. I would often, I don't have a lot of memories as a kid because I don't remember. My memory in general is not that great. I remember having an argument with myself if I was in class and a teacher was pontificating and I was negotiating, should I say this thing that I know will make kids laugh, but it will also make my teacher angry and possibly get me in trouble? And that negotiation would 99% of the time would end with me making the comment, because the laugh was more important than the possible repercussions. And if you grow up always thinking that the laugh is king and getting the laugh is the most important thing, and if something bad can happen to you as a result of that laugh, well then so be it. Then that's an important trait for someone who wants to write comic novels needs to have, because the laughter and finding the funny, it always has to be king. It's always top priority. And and teaching how to, there are a lot of classes out there about writing comedy and writing comic television or writing comedy for books. or movies. I'm not completely convinced that it's something that can be quote unquote taught, because again, I think it's something that's ingrained in you from an early age, your earliest consciousness. If the laugh is important to you, that you're willing to risk everything to get it, then it's your top priority, and then you're ready to kind of step into the comic ring, so to speak.
That makes sense to me. I'm always curious because I am a little bit funny, and of course, the moment you say that, you stop being funny. That's over now. But Banneker Bones, not me, but Banneker Bones is a funny book, and when I see that humor, I know that part of that is just because it was a survival skill from the time I was young. Because I was not an athlete, I was not physically gifted as a child, and that was my way of getting the bullies on my side. Was that if I get them laughing, nobody gets too mad at somebody that makes them laugh on a regular basis.
Absolutely. I think that's another time-honored tradition. Speaking of athletes put on a pedestal, is learning how to deal with the bullies and learning how to deal with the intimidators. And I've often found that laughter is the best way for, as you said, a scrawny or a unathletic kid to win over the intimidators. It's also the best way for a short, nebbishy guy to get a girl that he thinks is way out of his league to pay attention to him, which worked for me personally, by the way.
Oh, me too. Anybody that ever checks out my wife online has the same question. Why? How?
Why? How? I'm sure laughter had something to do with it. Your ability.
14 years later, I'm still making her chuckle. It worked out.
Do not underestimate the power of making somebody laugh. It is one of people's most appreciated traits, and it's what people so appreciate in others. If they feel that someone makes them laugh, they will forgive a lot of other flaws or faults they might have.